What's up everybody, this is Scott. Welcome back to another video. Well, our friends at JLab Audio reached out to us and asked if we would be interested in reviewing some headphones that were Bluetooth and wireless. Given that my Pixel 3 doesn't have a headphone jack, I figured it was probably in the best interest of actually wanting to listen to music if we gave them a shot. So today's video is about the JLab Audio Studio Icons. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different things today. It's going to be the design, the sound quality, Bluetooth, latency, price, and whether or not I would recommend them, but let's just go ahead and get kicked off right into the design. So full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of on-ear headphones. These are definitely ones that are on-ear, not over-the-ear. I'm much more of a fan of the over-the-ear where it completely encases it because I get a really nice sound, whereas the over-the-ear kind of lets the sound out, it leaks out, and people can hear all of those sweet, sweet tunes that you have when it just pours out of the side over the on-ear. So with that being said, I'm actually a fan of this particular design. It covers enough of my ear to where I get a nice feeling of them being slightly over the ear, but these are technically on ear. They don't completely encase it, but they get pretty close. The headband is nice and stainless steel with a nice fake leather, or what they refer to on their website as faux leather. The foam ear cups are incredibly comfortable, especially for long periods of time. Again, their website comes up with these nice marketing words of cloud foam with faux leather. They have a nice compact folding design, however they don't come with a case, and at this price point I don't really expect it, and we'll talk more about the price in a little bit, but honestly it's not a deal breaker at all that it doesn't come with a case. It's just they fold up really nice. You can kind of just shove them in a backpack and don't have to worry about it. The headphones do have a microphone, so you can use them to answer and take phone calls. The few times that I used them to take phone calls, the person on the other end definitely knew that I was wearing headphones, but it wasn't like a deal breaker at all. However, if you're out in a public place, it's gonna pick up all that background noise, so it's something that you definitely wanna be advised of. They have a really nice ear cup control where you can do power on, power off, play, pause, track, forward, backwards, volume up, and things like that. Plus they have this concept that where you can like press and hold the volume up and down at the same time, and it changes the equalization. They have 3 different settings. Honestly, I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. So overall, from the design perspective, I actually really like them. Again, not 100% perfect because they're on ear. I prefer the over the ear, but these are definitely something that's very nice. So these are headphones after all. How is this sound quality? One thing that you're gonna notice right off the bat is the perfect volume range is actually somewhere between like 50 and 70%. You get a really good sound with 50 to 70%. Anything above that 70, 80, 90%, things get a little wonky. Highs tend to be a little bit oppressive. It's almost overbearing at this point because they get a little tingy. They tend to just hit really sharp in my ears, but that's with the volume way up. So I noticed this the most when I was listening to like St. Elmo's Fire, that nice, sweet track from the 80s where the guitar was just like pinging me right in the ear, but I had the volume at like 95%, so grain of salt on that. The mids were just okay. A lot of the times they were kind of muddied up with the bass itself. The bass sometimes came across as just a little bit too much, especially when I was messing with the equalization. It just muddied up the vocals, muddied up the mids, but again, that was at the kind of the higher end of the volume. When it was 50%, it was a little less muddy, still not necessarily as clear as I would have liked. The bass is definitely there. There's no question that these have, these are not Beats by Dre type bass, but it's a little heavier on the bass, so those songs that have a lot of bass but not a lot of vocals or mids or anything like that is gonna get covered up because that bass just sometimes just overpowers everything else. The vocals were a little bit tingy at the time, a little bit too much depending on the volume, and they definitely can get lost in the mids and the bass, especially because they just kind of overtake everything. So that's one thing that you're gonna wanna be advised. Again, at the particular price point that these sound fantastic for the price point. The last thing is they get very loud. They get exceptionally loud, and you can definitely hear there's sound leakage since they're on ear. So if you have the volume close to 100%, those folks around you, especially if you're in an office, are definitely going to hear you in whatever music that you have playing. So be advised of that. I learned that one the hard way. The folks around me, they learned my love for yodeling. I mentioned this EQ3 sound that they have. On the box, you can see that they have this something called JLab Signature, Balance, and Bass Boost modes without an app, which is really nice. You just have to press and hold, and it makes like a beeping volume, and you can definitely hear the sound. Now, they say that it's supposed to make different chirps and things of that nature when you go through it, but I only actually had one beep every time, but definitely the equalization of the music changed. So my recommendation would be to play music, then mess with it to try to get the best balance. I went with a balanced profile because the bass was just a little bit too much, even with the balance mode on. But if you have the bass boost mode on, it's very bassy and it just muddies everything up. So from a Bluetooth perspective, the connection works great. It goes really far, like 20, 30 feet when I'm connected to my phone. One thing I'm going to note, when I connected these to my MacBook Pro for the first time, it dropped in and out of just connectivity. Not really sure. It was only something I specifically experienced on the MacBook Pro. When I connected it to an iPhone, connected it to a Pixel, it worked flawlessly, never dropped the connection. It was just some weird thing, I guess, with the MacBook Pro. So I'm not sure if that was a problem on my computer end or what. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. A lot of the questions that we get is around latency. Is there latency with these headphones? I did experience latency a few times when I was watching YouTube videos and I was watching Black Panther on my MacBook Pro. But again, I mentioned before, MacBook Pro was acting a little bit weird. When I watched on my Pixel 3 XL, I never had any latency at all. So I guess it's going to be dependent upon the device that you have. For me to say that I didn't experience any latency would be a lie. I did experience some, just not every single time. I would say, less than 5% of the time that I actually was trying to test it. So how about the battery life? They say 13 hours battery life with these headphones for sure. I have worn them and not charged them since I've gotten them, and I've worn them for probably 8 to 10 hours, and I have yet to worry about the battery life. I would say that 13 hours is probably legitimate. I haven't gotten to the 13th hour yet. I've only gotten to about 10 hours, but I've never experienced any battery issues at all. One negative about the battery, it is micro USB. Can we please get everything to USB Type-C? I can't complain a lot because of the price point. It's just something that I want because I have USB Type-C laying around everywhere because of MacBooks and Pixels. But yeah, micro USB, I would really like to see them kind of go forward with a USB Type-C. I've hinted at the price a couple of times. They're $40 on their website right now. So these are $40 Bluetooth truly wireless headphones. They are fantastic for that price. So that goes right into the would I recommend? Without question, I recommend these from a $40 price point perspective. For everything that you get for $40, these might be some of the best headphones that you can get for less than 50 bucks. Truly wireless, on-ear, extremely comfortable, decent sound, very loud. These are headphones that I would feel comfortable taking to the gym, working out in them if that's something that you get into, I suppose. I don't really like on-ear when I'm working out because I think that's a little bit weird, but hey, to each their own. So if you need long-lasting, comfortable headphones at a really good price point, definitely check out the JLab Audio. So that's it. That's all I have. As always, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we will see you next time.